Daniel Dynamite Dubois knocks out Anthony Joshua in the 5th round. It was an incredible fight. Boxing is beautiful. I love boxing. This is why I love boxing. And the heavyweight division is the best division of all the divisions. You have boxing and then you have heavyweight boxing. And this was a perfect example as to why I love this sport. First thing I want to say is respect to both combatants. Respect to both warriors. Went in there, put it all on the line, and left it all in the ring. First round, they come out, and Anthony Joshua just couldn't seem to find any sort of rhythm, couldn't seem to find any sort of timing. Everything was off for Anthony Joshua. It just didn't look good in there. He looked like a novice in there. He looked like he had just started boxing the other day. I mean, it didn't seem like he had progressed under this new trainer at all, in my opinion. It was just looking very shabby in there. Daniel Dubois done what was expected and jumped on Anthony Joshua straight away. We all knew that this is what he was going to do, and this is what he done. And it was just all at sea for Anthony Joshua. It seemed like he didn't know what he was doing. He seemed like he wasn't actually there properly. But anyway, the fight's progressing. Daniel Dubois is just throwing haymakers all over the place. Anthony Joshua is covering up, moving, and tying up Daniel Dubois. As the first round continues, Daniel Dubois slows down a bit. Anthony Joshua's trying to find some rhythm, and it's not happening. He's not finding any rhythm. He's trying to make Daniel Dubois miss and then counter with sometimes an uppercut. He was trying this uppercut a lot, and it just weren't happening. It just weren't coming off. And coming up to the end of the first round, Anthony Joshua was backing off, and Daniel Dubois threw a haymaker, overhand right, that catches Anthony Joshua flush on the chin, and Anthony Joshua's legs just go from underneath him, and he puts his gloves to the ground trying to stay up, and that's a knockdown, and the ref starts an 8 count, and we can see that Anthony Joshua was at that point there, it seemed that it was over. His legs were not there. He couldn't stand up straight. He couldn't stand up strong. And it was just the beginning of the end from there on in. It was just survival mode for Anthony Joshua. Luckily, that was the end of the first round. So Daniel Dubois couldn't continue his attack. And that was the end of that round. Going into the second round, Daniel Dubois jumps on Anthony Joshua straight away. Anthony Joshua is doing his best to survive, holding on and moving and tying up Daniel Dubois, trying to recover at the same time because he still seemed to not have his legs under him properly. So he's still trying to recover at the same time, trying to establish a jab, trying to come forward as well. But Daniel Dubois was not respecting his power at all. And he was doing this in, out, herky-jerky movement that was just not being able to be timed by Anthony Joshua at all. And with that being said, his attacks were always coming off first and coming off better. And he just kept on catching Anthony Joshua. He survived the second round. Going into the third, Daniel Dubois is attacking. And he knocks Anthony Joshua down again. So it wasn't a clean knockdown, but the ref called it as a knockdown, and the 8 count was there. Anthony Joshua was trying to dispute the knockdown, but it was a knockdown. In that round, at some point as well, Anthony Joshua slips, which is not called a knockdown, and the referee's waving his hands like to say it's not a knockdown, and the crowd's thinking that the ref's saying it's over. But it wasn't that. He was just saying it's not a knockdown. So they carry on. And Anthony Joshua is just really just trying to survive at this point. It's not really going well for Anthony Joshua at this point. Going into the fourth round, Anthony Joshua is backing off. Daniel Dubois is attacking. Not respecting Anthony Joshua's power at all. Anthony Joshua is not able to recover properly from the knockdowns. And he eventually gets knocked down again in the fourth round, which was a proper knockdown this time. And he gets his 8 count and continues to survive into the 5th round. Then in the 5th round, Anthony Joshua is establishing his jab and just trying to throw his own big right hands. And at some point, he catches Daniel Dubois with a right hand that makes Anthony Dubois stumble backwards. As he stumbles backwards, Anthony Joshua comes forward to attack, slips on the way forward, tries to gather himself, throws a flurry of punches, obviously trying to catch Daniel Dubois, and it's now a tussle in the corner, punch for punch. Daniel Dubois catches Anthony Joshua with a short, stiff right hand, boom on the chin. Anthony Joshua is out, sleeping. The referee is counting. Anthony Joshua is trying to get back up. His face is in the ground. His face is in the canvas as he's trying to get back up. His face was in the dirt. His face was in the ground as he's trying to get back up. It's like he was breakdancing. It was like a baby in a playpen in there, man. It was terrible. It was awful. It was just looking all types of bad. It was looking like when Tyson knocked out Buster Douglas and Buster Douglas was swinging to that side of the ring and then wobbled back that side of the ring. It was similar to that type of situation. Rolling around trying to get back up. Couldn't get back up at all. Could not beat the 10 count. He couldn't beat a 20 count, to be honest with you. He couldn't beat a 20 count. Yeah, it was over. And that was that. Daniel Dubois retains his IBF championship title and marches on. What is next for Anthony Joshua? Everyone is saying he should now retire. He's done his part for boxing. To be fair to you, Anthony Joshua, alongside Eddie Hearn, has revived boxing in total. They've brought back the eyes to boxing. Before Anthony Joshua with Eddie Hearn came on the scene, boxing was in disarray. The Mayweather era was over. Nobody was paying attention to boxing at all. Nobody was paying attention to the heavyweight division at all. But when the heavyweight division is popping, the whole of boxing is popping. And that's what happened when Anthony Joshua came on the scene in 2012, 2013. Respect to Anthony Joshua. You've done your thing for boxing. And in all honesty, maybe you should retire. You don't want to be taking no more shots to the head with these heavyweight boxers and their heavy hands, bruv. It's enough. It's done. You've done well. You have nothing more to prove. You probably will go down in the Boxing Hall of Fame. There was a lot of things I took for granted in my prediction for this fight. And I must admit, I predicted from a fan's point of view because I am an Anthony Joshua fan. I'm going to be admitting that. I don't usually be a fan of any particular boxer. I'm more a fan of the sport. But Anthony Joshua, I am a fan of Anthony Joshua. As I am a fan of Terence Crawford. These two boxers, I can say I am definitely these two boxers' fans. And I would definitely not like to see them lose. I wouldn't want to see them lose. But I respect them for having the fights where they can potentially lose. Because those are the fights that make everybody come and see. Those are the fights what brings all the fans. And those are the fights that bring the casual fans. So that's what I respect about these fighters more than anything else. And Anthony Joshua has done his bit. Two-time unified heavyweight champion. He never got to do the undisputed thing. He never got to do it. And he done well for a man who started boxing so late. Daniel Dubois has been boxing since he could walk. That's something that I took for granted in my prediction. Because something that you do from a child, you master earlier than when you start it later in life. And that's just a fact. Anthony Joshua, on the night, gave a poor performance. And that also contributes to the factor as to why he lost. If he fought a better fight, who knows what could have happened. But that's not what happened on the night. This is the fight he fought and he got beat. To be fair to you, I respect the fact that he didn't quit, obviously. He went out on his shield. He got back up every single time until he actually physically could not get back up. Respect to you, Anthony Joshua. You can retire with your head held high. Respect to you. As for Daniel Dubois, young Daniel Dubois has got the whole world ahead of him now. He can go on and fight the winner of Tyson Fury and Usyk, and there is a new king in town. He has to now take the mantle from Anthony Joshua and carry on the fame of boxing. Now it's on his shoulders. What can you do with it now? Let's see how boxing carries on now with Anthony Joshua out of the picture now, if he retires. He said something about he's going to come back, and he's a big man, he can do what he likes. But if he retires, I would not wrong him for that. And if he comes back, I'll definitely be there watching his fights. So Daniel Dubois, whole world ahead of him. He can it's obvious that he's going to go to fight the winner of Usyk versus Tyson Fury, which is happening in December. They were both there. Everybody was there at this fight. All Crawford come over from America. All Devin Haney come over. Anyway, we'll talk about this more in another video. But as for now, well done to both combatants. Well done to Daniel Dubois retaining his IBF championship. Now he definitely feels like he is a champion after he beat who he saw as the #1 boxer or the #1 heavyweight in the heavyweight division. I will see you guys in the next video.